Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Subculture Live. So, I am your host, Sammy Jo. And as you guys know, we usually do a short segment somewhere in the middle of the episode, and that is the shift of the week, and that is hosted by Alan Kay. And of course, he'll be also co hosting today as well. And we have a very special guest, and that is Chef Dale. And tonight's episode is going to be all about food prep services. Do we like them? Do we not? Why are they a benefit? What are some of your experiences? All of it, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And Chef Dale is going to walk us through all the questions that we have because, we have all seen the posts on Instagram of our friends who have these perfectly portioned, delicious looking meals that they eat day in and day out. And I have questions. So we're going to get them all answered. So I'm going to go ahead and bring everybody in here. Here we go. So we have, hold on here. Dale. All right. Hello, Chef Dale.
Hey, good to see you.
Yes, and hello, Alan.
Hey, good to be back after 2 weeks. So, hello
It is.
everyone.
It is. So, Chef Dale, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell the viewers a little bit about yourself. And the first question I kind of wanted to kick it off with is how you even got involved in food prep. And it sounds like you work mainly with athletes and competitors and that type. So how did all of that progress for you?
Well, I mean, I've been in cooking now for like, gosh, 30 years. But I did a lot of catering in the background. Did a lot of restaurant work. But long around the time COVID hit, everything shut down. The company I was with and the catering that I was doing, there was nobody gathering, so all that business just went away. So I had to figure, gosh, what do I do? So at that time, I was just beginning some serious working out with Dr. J, and through some encouragement, I started doing meal prep. Had a long history with working with keto.
Okay.
Both my wife and I originally lost a lot of weight with that, so that was where I first started. Was working with people that were looking to lose weight, and got a lot of clients that way. But the more I worked out, the more I saw, wait a second, there's something here. There's some things that need to be addressed in the community, and the more I started working with it, the more I loved it. So that was just a natural progression. We still do a lot of keto. I'll have 5 keto meals on my menu every week, but I also have a create your own, which is geared specifically for athletes. That way they can choose specifically what they want.
Awesome. I love that. So, Alan, I have a question for you. Have you ever worked with a meal prep company before?
I have not worked with a meal prep company yet. I also enjoy cooking and doing my own thing with it. Like it's my own little activity, my own little self-investment. So I have not yet done so on this, but on the same token, it is starting to take a lot of my time and I'm starting to get in a lot more business ventures. So I'm definitely more than excited about talking to Chef Dale about all of this stuff for sure.
Yes, yes. Hold on. I'm just setting something up here. Awesome. So, so one of what sparked this whole interview, by the way, you did mention Dr. J. Just for those of you that don't know, that is
Yep.
the current Mr. Classic Physique America. So I wore the shirt just to in his honor tonight. and and he's also holds many other titles, but our show isn't long enough to go over them all. But yes, so what I was gonna say. So you train at his facility as well, correct?
I do. I started off after a really bad accident. Had a car accident, and just before COVID hit around December of 2020.
Okay.
And I actually was introduced to him as a chiropractor. My daughter was seeing him, and so I started seeing him twice a week for
Okay.
probably 4 or 5 months before he suggested some resistance training. And I was full dad bod. Had Was pretty much resigned to myself that that was the way life was going to go. And he gave me just enough encouragement so my mentality changed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you have stepped on stage and competed before. I think that is very important to mention. Um, Anytime you're dealing with anything within this industry, I always think it's great to have somebody that can relate to what the athletes are going through in their mindset. So I think that's a huge advantage that you have as the chef. Now, I was gonna say, what sparked this whole interview is you sent me a list of questions a couple weeks ago, which I loved because it shows me how much passion you have for what you do and how you're really trying to get insight into what the consumers want and what the athletes want
Right.
and what the athletes in show prep want and the ones that are not prepping want. And so that really meant a lot to me that, as a business owner, that you were kind of going that extra mile. And soliciting, athletes saying, hey, will you just answer some of these questions for me because I just need
Right.
some insight. So I said, well, let's do a live podcast and let's hear what the athletes actually think about this. So one of the questions was, when considering what to eat during your building phase, what is most important to you and what obstacles do you face? Okay. So Alan, why don't you answer that question? What's important to you during your building phase, and what are some of the obstacles you face?
Some of the most important things with the building phase is, in my opinion, is to start adding carbs and start adding protein. And honestly, it's funny because the most challenging part for me, every time I've gained weight and tried to get into my off season, is actually letting go of being lean for show,
Mhm.
I feel like there's always a challenge that comes with trying to gain the proper weight back while also letting go of the lean image. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you mind me asking, there, chef, how do you ever experience that kind of an obstacle with clients? And if so, how do you deal with it? And if you haven't, how would you deal with that?
Well, I've experienced it a little bit with clients. I have a wide variety of base. Some of them are competitive, some of them are not. So the ones that are competitive, I'm a little more specific on what they're getting. Trying to make sure that they're getting the right mix, what their feedback they're giving to me, so that I can make sure that they're getting what they're after. I know from my own view, going from stage weight and staying stage leanness to trying to build, you're adding in the carbs, adding in a little more calorie. And man, when you start feeling that first little bit of movement in places that you didn't have movement before, that is it's a freak out. It is just like, oh my gosh, how do so? But the one thing that's great is I have really good people around me, and they're saying no, just go with it. This is part of it. You got to be careful not to go too far, but you've got to have a surplus in order to build. But if left up to my own devices, I would have never built because I would have tried to stay at stage weight the whole time, just because it felt so good at that time.
Right. Now, do you mind if I ask, when you're working with your clients on these kind of things, I imagine it's not just limited to, hey, eat this, eat that. I'm assuming there's a lot more human interaction, and I don't want to say
Oh
life
yeah.
coaching per se, but a lot more of life circumstance than it is food circumstance. So
Right.
I get, yeah, go ahead.
No, that's absolutely right. I love feedback. And the cool part about this is, I've been around this enough that I don't carry ego into it. A lot of people, have to understand that food is very individual. And what is well seasoned for one person is over seasoned for another. And it's the same thing with macros as well. You really have to go with the individual on what they're and help them to understand that they have to listen to their body. So I'm looking for any kind of feedback I can from the people that are serious athletes. Again, the people that are doing straight keto, that's pretty easy because I have a straight menu for that. I know what carb counts they're needing to maintain ketosis, but that's also kind of a little bit of a learning curve as well, helping them to know what to eat when they're not eating my meals. So there's a little bit of training that goes on with that, but all around, trying to help people to and get that feedback loop, so that I can help them be their best.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, so we talked about, you have your keto clients, they're kind of doing their thing,
Yeah.
and then you have your prep clients or off season, bodybuilders, that type of thing. And one of the second question you asked is some of the things that you consider on the flip side when you some of the obstacles that you face when you're cutting and what is most important to you when you're cutting. And when I answered that question for you, I said convenience and availability are definitely the most important things for me
Mhm.
because, like you said, everybody has a different. We talked about this before we went live. Everybody kind of has a different outlook on food itself. And for me, food
Oh
is
yeah.
fuel, right? I could care a little less about how everything is tasting, but more so that it's convenient, I'm consistent, and that it's available. And the biggest obstacle for food prep company wise for me would be the element of control because I am
Mhm.
such a control freak when it comes to my food. So if we could, if I was hiring a food prep company during a cut, that would just be the biggest obstacle for me.
Right. And it's interesting is that I'll follow really whatever someone wants. I've
Yeah.
literally had people that have wanted me to take pictures of the scale as I'm producing food. I mean, it's gotten that specific. It's like, okay,
So I'm
sure,
not
here
the
you go.
only one.
Um, no, 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 no. I mean, people take it seriously, and it really does. They have to have the confidence on a day by day basis that they're getting what they want, because they need that to feel like there's progress. Even if a little bit of margin is not going to blow them out, it's a mind game at that point. They've got to have what they want, and that's just the name of it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I mean, I also enjoy the fact that we are talking about taking pictures of food and then posting it on social media because I have noticed, like, for people that I know don't exactly work out all the time or live a healthier lifestyle, when they do post food that is healthier than their norm, or they start posting
Mhm.
a chicken breast instead of the Burger King, it's like, oh, it's great encouragement, and
Yeah,
everybody always encourages it, right? But
yeah,
it does come to a point though where some people just do it for the gram, for lack of a better way of saying it, and some
yeah.
people like don't actually eat like that, but then they'll post like that, and you'll see them start posting, a whole bunch of keto-esque meals, but then they look like they've been eating a dozen donuts every single day. So it's like,
Right,
does
right,
it
right.
really align, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah. What are you eating outside of that meal?
Right.
right, because it's like, yeah, you might have eaten that one good meal, but what about
Right.
all the alcohol, donuts, ice cream, and then the
Yeah.
weekend calories that don't count? And
And
yeah,
that's one thing that I did take seriously. We do the keto, but there's also a little bit of education that goes with that. When you are when you're eating, you may have to maintain a certain carb count, and if you go outside of that, your ketosis is blown. So for those people that are used to having a higher fat content and a higher protein content, all it is now extra calories. So you're really defeating the purpose by going out of ketosis that way. So in response to that, I put together a couple of our snacks that are
Oh.
they're low carb, but they're amazing. I do in-house jerky in probably a dozen flavors,
Ooh.
and then we also do our in-house granola bars. All those are basically seed-based. There's no grain. Amazing flavors, and I've been working with Dr. J. Actually, we were talking about what does someone snack on if it were the perfect snack, right? So he and I went together on building this fit bar, if you will, and
Yes.
it's one of our granola bars, but it has added SP protein, whey protein, as well as added chia seed. And so we've basically bumped up the protein considerably on that. It's got some really solid, good fats, and because of the add of the chia, it gives you that full feeling that you're really looking for. So there's a lot of really positives in that, and that's something that I use extensively because if I'm out and I'm caught between meals and I'm hungry, bad things happen. So that's something that I can carry
yeah.
with me. That's something I can carry with me and keeps me from getting off base.
I love that. I love that. And that was actually your third question when considering like snacks. Um, yeah. So, what are some of the considerations? That definitely covers all of them. Something like that, a granola bar.
Right.
It's good. It's going to fill you up. Meets the requirements. Now, let's talk about always what everything boils down to is money, right? So I think
Yeah.
everything, right? So I think when people think food prep service, they think They don't even look into it sometimes because they think it's not in their price range or they can't afford it. I dabbled with it for a while and I had a great experience, but I came to find that I was actually saving money because I'm one of those, you know, warriors that goes into the grocery store on Sunday or Monday and I'm like, this is what I'm going to prepare for the week when I'm not in show prep, right? When I'm in show prep, it's a little different, but in the off season or just, right now as I'm living like my healthy lifestyle, I will sometimes miss the mark. I will purchase the food and I won't necessarily prep the food and it ends up going bad and I throw a lot of it away. And that's just comes with the territory of being like a busy soccer mom and having other things going on in my life. So I go into the store with great intentions.
Yeah. And that's so key because the most expensive food you're going to have is the food you throw away.
Yes, it is so
Yeah.
true.
And even I've had several people I have a lot of people because we always talk money. It's like you said, it is one of the key things that people talk about.
Of course.
And I've brought up those and talked those things through as well. I see people that are prepping, and there are some people that'll literally make 5 or 6 days of the same thing. So waste is not an issue with them. Okay. And apparently they're happy with that, which is fine, but that's not for everybody. Well, there you go. I see your hand up.
Yeah.
But the thing about a lot of the meals that I do is that the reason why I rotate the menus every week is because I eat them too. And so I want to have that variety. I want to have some enjoyment. And so that literally there's no waste. If you're buying that, you're paying the price and that's it. So you don't have to worry about any of the food necessarily going bad unless you choose not to eat the meals. That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these menus. We have like beef stew, jerky chicken thighs, ranch chicken breast.
Is that granola bar that you were talking about
right
earlier?
here.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm in prep right now. Like, why are we doing this to me? Like, sorry, I'm hella victimizing myself right now. 7.5 weeks away from comp, guys. We're talking about food.
It's funny when Jay and I are both in prep, the entire time I'm working out, it's about food. And somehow we're satisfying ourselves. It's a sadistic thing. I don't know, but we somehow find enjoyment with it.
Wait,
No, you're right. Well, no, hold on, real quick. He's right because hold on, my next cheat meal is on Saturday, and I cannot stop thinking about my next cheat meal, and I'm working out to earn that cheat meal. So I 100% get it. Using food as motivation, 100%.
Absolutely,
100%.
But I'm a foodie to the core anyway. I can put in a 16-hour day catering hard, come in and talk with the guys about more food and more recipes. So it's just dangerous for me.
That is funny. I have to say, speaking of Dr. J, so we were at one of his shows. We all went out to eat afterwards, and I've never been out to eat with an athlete after doing a show, because I'm usually working an event or things like that. So you know how our families and friends are always so excited, like when we eat our first meal after a show. I could never really understand that until I went out to eat with all of you guys, and we got to watch Dr. J like bite into that like first.
Oh yeah.
And I was like so excited for him. And I finally understood why our friends and family get so excited to like take us out to dinner after the show. So yeah, that was
the look of enjoyment is just next level.
Yes.
The feeling of enjoyment is absolutely. I mean, like for example, so my next show is in Vegas. I already have like the Caesar's buffet in mind with everything I'm gonna eat at the Caesar's buffet. And it's like, hey, like if it wasn't meant to be eaten, then why does it taste so damn good? Just
oh my goodness. Yeah, you are gonna have the best food after post show.
Oh my god. Donuts, ice cream, cookies, like it's about to go down, guys. It's about to go down. I have been holding myself away from donuts, the love of my life, for this long, and it's gonna happen. So that's for sure gonna happen. I'm judging myself talking about food like this right now. 100% judging myself.
Judgment-free zone.
Right.
No. It's me. I'm judging myself speaking about this. I'm hearing myself third person, like, wow, Alan, you're a fan. I was like, I know. Oh God.
No, no. So I think, yeah, so all in all, I'm just going to say this. I think food prep services are fantastic for athletes, especially during maybe if you're scared to do it during like your 12-week like kind of prep to the stage. I can understand that. But
Yeah.
I think, what are you guys doing the other months of the year? I think it's a great alternative, even if it's not every single meal. So that was what I was doing. I was buying it and I was doing 2 to 3 meals a day with my food prep.
Mhm.
And then, because I love breakfast. I can handle that. I can lock that down easy. And there's usually a shake, is one of my meals. So no problem there. So I was just filling in like some of the blanks with these packaged meals, and I loved it. Now, my other question was, shoot, it just left me. Hold on, it will come back. So that's my experience with a food prep company, and I very much enjoyed it. And a lot of those meals I could eat hot or cold. Now I've met some people who will literally drive 3 miles out of the way to find a gas station with a microwave to warm up their food. Like they're crazy about their food being warm. I don't know if you guys have any of those friends, but I do. They will lose their mind if
Oh
they don't
yeah.
have a microwave.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I can eat cold food.
Real quickly, Dale. What in your experience so far doing all of this? What are some of the most restrictive dietary approaches that you've had to maneuver around so that you can still not only do your job but also allow people to be stress free from what they're eating?
Ooh, the really restrictive ones, they tell me, they guide me as far as how restrictive they need to be. But I think working with people on alternative proteins is a little bit of a challenge, especially when they're getting down close. They don't want to change up the game, right? So they're really set on what they're doing. So any kind of variation like that, I try and give them, like you said, the occasional cheat meal, which is really not a cheat meal; it's just a different protein, right? So every now and then, instead of chicken breast, we'll throw in shrimp. Or we'll do a white fish, and that way it gives them a little bit of variety. They feel like they're cheating, but they're really not. And that really is kind of the hard part. But the real hard part is getting past that um, uh, the mentality that they have to maintain just like the 3 items they're eating for like 6 or 7 weeks. But I don't necessarily I say that with the most respect because they know their program. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to help. And so I don't want to talk them out of anything, but to give them alternatives that they can use that won't change the outcome. That'll still give them the positive outcome they're looking for.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you talk with them and you work with them by just kind of
Yeah,
telling them what to. That's awesome. I
right.
imagine that allows a lot more people to be more open with you and work with you, vice just
Oh
kind of
yeah,
resist anything that you approach them with.
absolutely. Because they're the ones in the driver's seat. I'll do whatever I can to help their progress. I'll give them alternatives and options. But ultimately, if they want me to fix, chicken and broccoli for the next few weeks, I'll be happy to do that for them.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing that you mentioned about prep. One thing that has I've gotten a good number of people that have joined in on is destination catering. I get
Hmm.
athletes that are coming in from other states that are concerned about how they're going to be getting their meals. So somehow my name is getting around, and I'm having athletes and trainers call me and say, "Hey, I've got an athlete that's going to be here from this state to this state. Can you hit me with five days of meals?" And I'm like,
Nice.
"Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it." That way, it takes that off of their plate. They don't have to worry about it. They've got, when they hit the hotel, they've got bags waiting for them, and they're ready to roll.
Yeah, that is awesome.
So then does your meal service ship out to a whole bunch of other different places at the
Not
same
yet,
tempo?
not
Okay.
yet. I'm toying with that. It's a whole new level of logistics that have to happen for that to be really smooth. Right now, I do a local delivery, and by local, it's grown from a 15-mile radius to about a 25-mile radius. So it's getting bigger all the time. But then you get the challenge of now I'm beginning to get right at that edge of where I need to split delivery days between different locations. But as you were just asking, that is something that's definitely on the planning board for me. I've got people that were solid customers that have moved that are now requesting that, and that's going to give me a good opportunity to start playing with that role.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. And I think that
So
says wonders for your retention. Is
Yeah, when they're asking, it feels really good.
yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, you know what's interesting about that? It just reminds me. So do you guys know the YouTube guy, Mr. Beast? He has
Yes.
a big YouTube channel and
Yes,
everything. So
yes,
Yes.
anyway, he's created something. It's called the Beast Burger. And what the Beast Burger is that it allows all these other restaurants, no matter where they are, to create this burger, which just pretty much says, hey, using your own products, create this meat, this bread, this amount of lettuce, and serve it for this price. And it's
right,
interesting because now that's allowing restaurants that were otherwise being overlooked. Now, for someone who knows that, I can afford this affordable burger and I get it from this place, therefore I'm going to go to this location. I wonder if, do you see meal prep kind of expanding out to that to the point where it's like, hey, you know what? Like, yeah, a lot of these restaurants don't serve exactly what's on my plan, but I know that at least there is going to be this go-to option no matter where I go. Like, do you
right.
envision that kind of a meal prep across the board, kind of a vision,
I mean, it
so to
certainly
speak?
can. It's kind of the concept behind a ghost kitchen, right? Where people are taking other people's recipes and they're reproducing them. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you're describing,
Yeah, I guess
but
so.
that's
Yeah,
yeah, but that's happening, and I'm seeing more and more of it.
yeah. Okay, I like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
when I travel too, like I definitely, because I found out that you can actually travel with a certain amount of meals or certain amount of food, and I'm always that guy that has a big old lunch pail carry on, because I know that like for the first 2 or 3 days I might not access a grocery store, but then also if I'm on
Right.
like a 3.5 or 4 day trip, why am I meal prepping or why am I deciding to cook when I get there? Because then it almost seems like I'm wasting food and wasting time.
For
So
sure.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can imagine that something like what you just said, ghost kitchen. I'm gonna coin that. But it's very helpful, and yeah, thank you for sharing that. Seriously.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I actually had a trip to Hawaii when I was in prep. My husband called local food prep companies, spoke to them, had an extra refrigerator put in our hotel room, and had the chef cook the food like exactly to my specs, exactly to my my
Mm.
meal plan, and they delivered them to the hotel. So, I mean, there is
Yeah.
definitely a level of convenience and security, knowing that that is an option for athletes that are out there. You'd have to do a little bit of extra legwork, but like you said, those people, like, think about all the athletes that are coming in from out of state for the Florida Pro. I mean,
Right.
that's a
That was
huge,
the first time. That was the first time that it occurred. Was the
yes.
not last year's, but the years before. One of my first athletes that was actually calling. She was coming from I believe it was Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and like I said, she was not wanting to have to worry about all of that. And she asked me a million questions, make sure that I could do exactly what she wanted to. But once she had a certain level of comfort with that, we rolled with it, and it was delivered the day she came in. The
Okay.
hotel took care of everything. Yeah.
So currently, right now, you're doing a pickup at location. So let's say, is it like a local gym and they come and pick up their food? You're not like,
No, everything. I'm working towards having some drop spots because
okay.
right now everything is doorstep.
Oh
Okay,
wow.
it's
Okay.
it's literally delivered to your door.
Even
I
better.
exchange the ice bags, and so it's really convenient. The delivery's not outrageous, and it's just like I said, it's just the meals are waiting for you there.
And how many
But I'm
days?
working with.
Like, if I was to order a full 7 days worth of food, do you do two deliveries?
Mhm.
Or, yeah. Okay. That's perfect.
I do a single delivery, and my recommendation on that is that the meals will go 5 days. If you're going to have the last 2 days, my recommendation is figure out what you're wanting to eat and freeze them, and then bring them back out. Will the meals last longer than that? Absolutely. I've had my meals 8, 9 days. As long as they're maintained in really solid refrigeration, it's no problem. I just can't recommend that for anybody else. I'm willing to do that because it's mine. But I also don't know what refrigerator you're putting it in.
Sure.
And I don't know how it's being held. So we're going to go with 5
How
days.
many teenagers are holding the door open for like
Oh my
5 minutes
God.
at a
Yes.
time?
Yeah.
No, I like that. And freezing them, that's such a great solution to that problem. Or,
Yeah. And, like we were getting back to on the original question, I am looking to make relationship, especially with possibly some gyms in a little bit of like my outlying areas, so that I can have a drop point and service their clients as well. That way, it cuts down on my travel, and it's not inconvenient for the athletes as well.
This is another suggestion. So when I go up to the shows up in New Jersey, I always stop at the at Kent Beerley's gym, Pure Focus Sports Club. And one of the things I love about that location, about his gym, is there's a small cooler in the front of the gym. And every week there's a meal prep company that puts meals in there. So you don't have to be on this meal prep service or anything. But every time I go there, I go through and I grab a meal because I know they're going to be there.
Sure.
I know they're delicious. And I think that's such a cool service for the clients that are coming in and out of the gym. If they're, running short on time or they just want to grab a quick meal, they're right there in that refrigerator. So that's another cool maybe thing that you could work out. And there's not a ton of them, but there's like just enough. And they've probably worked it out to where they know how many they're going to sell each week. And really quick grab and go. It's from a food prep company, so the macros are decent. It's not like a frozen meal or frozen dinner or something at the gas station. So yeah, that's been a cool feature that I've seen, and I've only seen it there at that gym.
Right. So, I love that idea. That's great.
Yeah. And it's just a tiny little fridge. It's not a huge one, but enough to stack a good amount of meals in there.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're onto something, Sammy. Just leaving those post-workout meals just available for meal prep because, for example, like when I was living in Vegas and working out at LVAC, I remember that little smoothie stand or post-workout shake stand always being utilized. They always had, and honestly, when I'm done with like a leg day or something like that, I just sound like a meathead. Oh, I'm done with leg day, whatever. But I am hungrier, and I know that when that kind of food option is right up there at the exit, that it's kind of hard for me to say no unless I'm on prep. So I think you might be onto something there, Sammy. You might be there.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I grab an energy drink and then I raid the fridge. Like that's what I do when I walk in.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
It's like being home at my parents' house. Oh, that's funny. Man. But this was, Dale, this was so fun. You've really opened our eyes to some of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on and some of the things that you have to go through and deal with just to make your clients happy, which I think is phenomenal. And I love that you have the patience to work with athletes because probably not every food prep company is going to the extent that you do.
Right. And some of the people who work with me have actually come from other food prep companies, and so I've fortunately had the pleasure of missing some of the pain that I've heard they've gone through because I have some of their staff to kind of guide me, go, no, you don't want to do that. That's a bad idea. So it's a little less painful. But I have heard a lot of the challenges that are with other companies, and we're striving really hard to make this so much more user friendly for the customer.
No, I love that. Can I say there was one negative that I did, and one of the reasons I did cancel my food prep company was, so there was a time, probably it's still happening, where prices were increasing, right? And I'm the type of person and I'm the type of customer that I'm like, I never want to sacrifice quality. Just charge me more, right? If prices are going up,
right.
I understand. I'm dealing with it too. Charge me more. Like when I go to restaurants, I go to restaurants that I used to love and I don't love them anymore because what they've done is they want to keep their prices the same, but their quality has gone down. And
Mm.
I no longer visit those establishments. But same thing with the food prep company. I would find that that would be a challenge for you as a business when prices do go up. How do you deal with that, that flux in prices? And how do you hand that on to your customers? Do you absorb it? Like, how do you deal with it?
It's a little bit of both. There's a decent enough margin that I can absorb small increases.
Mm-hmm.
But I have had to raise prices. When I first started 2 years ago, my range was $9 to $11. Right now, it is. I still have an occasional 10, but usually it's 11 to 13.
Okay.
And again, it's not outrageous, but I do offer some alternate proteins that are a little less expensive, and depending on what diet plan you're on, they might be something that you really like. I'm offering a little more chicken thigh. So for the keto people, they don't care. That's wonderful. Let's get some more fat in, right?
Right.
And I've actually turned some people that are not on certainly not on their leaning phase. They're doing building, and they'll occasionally grab that as well, just
Okay.
for the pure flavor of it.
Sure.
But the things that have really kind of gone up, any of the steak products that I use, and by steak product, I do some whole meats like flank, things like that. But I also use a lot of really quality meats that are a little less expensive. Like we have that's one of our pulled pork, and
Oh
that's a little bit
yeah.
less expensive. I do press my own burgers, so that's kind of
Ah.
cool. Yeah, but the fillet meat that I use for most of my steak is actually a fillet trim. It is a product that a
Oh,
lot of people use
Hold on.
for like fajita meats, and it's just awesome. I've yet to find a way to really overcook that or put it in a
I just wanted people to see like this
yeah.
is for real. Like this right here. I don't know if anybody's ever had meat cooked like that, but we eat a
wow.
lot of Peruvian food, and that's how they cook it over the open flame, and it gives it such an incredible flavor.
Oh
Love
man.
it. Love it.
Yeah,
So
that's half the fun of being in the kitchen.
so I guess if someone doesn't order your filet mignon, one would call that a mistake.
Yes, it would be a mistake. You're
That
absolutely
was my
right.
point. It was a bad
There's my
example. I'm done,
laughing
guys.
button
No.
on here.
God damn it.
So no, but I can respect that you have increased your prices because I did notice there was a
Yeah,
jump in the economy, and I noticed that the quality of my meals, the quality of my meat was going down, and I
yeah,
was like, I'm done because like that's a deal breaker for me. I need that. I don't want to be chewing on a little chunk of meat and be like, oh, like what is this? Like gristle or
right,
something. No.
right,
I'm like a 10-year-old kid when it comes to eating meat. Has to be a good consistency. I can't have any like weird chunks or gristle. So I
right.
respect that you would raise your prices
And I
and the
think
quality.
and one of the challenges as far as quality goes is, I do have a small segment that really want their, um, I don't do full organics. I do for certain people that are requesting that, but that's not I guess it's not the forte of the business.
Sure.
I do quality, but it's not necessarily all organic. The challenge of getting lately is like everyone else you've heard in the news, all of the supply chain issues that are out there. Things that we would never think would be hard to get are suddenly challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So I do rely every now and then on frozen products. But
Okay.
that's only if I can't get decent products in that are fresh. A great example is green beans.
Yes.
I do love to do fresh green beans, but the problem is sometimes you get them in, the quality's bad. You pop them in the steamer, and they come out, they're brown. They're so
Right.
they just turn immediately. That's not going to leave my kitchen. It's just not going to happen. So we do back up on some frozen products sometimes, and that's out of necessity.
Right. Well, I think frozen food is kind of underestimated sometimes because that stuff is like
Mhm.
fresh and it's flash frozen. Like it's frozen instantly.
Yeah.
So I know I relied a lot on frozen vegetables when I was in prep. So I think that's a fair backup plan for sure.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. And the way you're
But
preparing
it's
it,
amazing that,
yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing is if you have products like that, as long as they're well seasoned and they're not overcooked, it's an enjoyable product.
Hmm. Awesome.
Real
So,
quick, you said flash frozen. What does flash frozen mean? I just
well,
realized I don't know how fresh
I
vegetables are
think that,
frozen.
like
I just realized that.
I don't know all of the scientific ways that it's done, but I do know that when a lot of like think about berries and things like that, when they are picked, they are frozen like very quickly. Like the process from
Right.
when they're picked and when they're harvested to when they're frozen, like that process is very
Right.
quick. There isn't a lot of
And
downtime.
they use what they call a blast chiller, which is, if you're familiar with the difference between like a home oven versus a convection oven.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you have the fan that's moving all of the air around, so things cook a lot quicker. It's the same
Mm-hmm.
concept, only with a freezer. You have a lot more airflow, so things freeze much quicker.
Oh. Does it affect your, I guess, their shelf life per se of like when it gets thawed out? Does it last just as long as regular
I don't I
berries or
don't think
anything that?
I haven't noticed any difference as far as the way they're frozen. As
Hmm.
far as the shelf life. Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, I just learned something new, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You-
Yeah. No, well, first of all, I noticed that my timing for jokes isn't the greatest right now, and then now B, I just learned this. So great show, guys. Appreciate it.
No, this was like I said, thank you for coming on. This was a lot of fun. I hope that we shared some good information, and I'm going to definitely cut out some good bits and pieces from this and repost it because I think there was some good points made and some great highlights about your company in particular. And you are in Central Florida, so it's good to know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And
And it's
tap
a
into the
huge market.
website, BeastMeals. Yeah, BeastMeals.net. I've got my range in there, and if you have any questions whether I deliver to that area, just ping me. We can talk.
Yeah, I love it. And I think you're going to get a lot of requests for food for those athletes coming in for the Florida Pro because from what I hear there's
I hope so.
a lot of out of state competitors coming in. So,
Yeah, I haven't been to a lot of shows, but that's been my favorite so far.
it's like did you do it last year or the year before? You were up there.
I've done the Florida Pro twice,
Okay.
and
Makes
yeah,
sure.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah,
It
he
is.
puts on. Daryl does a great job.
He does do a great job. And I'm just going to throw out a self promo here. If anybody is watching on Facebook, please subscribe to the Subculture Live YouTube because that is where we're going to be streaming the Florida Pro for free this year. And I do have some fun new things that I'm adding into my live stream. Every year I like to, add some new toys. So it's going to be a great time. And maybe you can come over and join me at the commentary at the media table and tell me what you see on stage. That would be really fun because I like to have some
I
different
would
voices
love
on
that.
the
That'd be
mic.
awesome.
Yeah. And I actually am super excited because this year I have special headsets for anybody doing commentary. So excited about
Nice.
these. But my problem is just like not everybody can be a chef, not everybody can talk into a microphone properly. So I was finding that I was having people kind of doing this and
Right.
I was losing audio. Like you really have to be focused with these type of microphones. You have to be really focused on talking right into them. And I'd get people that would just kind of do this. And I'm like, we can't hear you. So that will solve my problem. Just like meal prep will
That's
help
awesome.
solve many athletes' problem of food going bad and not sticking to their plan. I think that there's definitely going to be a growing demand for food prep services as they become more and more popular. I know on social media, I'm seeing more and more people using them and posting about them.
Yeah.
So it's just going to continue
Yeah.
to grow.
The hardcore athletes already know, but the people just coming in don't understand that. I call the people that are working out and not doing good diet prep, the 51 percenters, because they're missing 49% of the rest of the picture. They've got to get their diet in order to get the gains or the losses that they want.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Alan, we're going to convert you
Convert me to
to meal
convert
prep
me.
service. Meal prep
To
service.
what?
So
Honestly, I
Oh, but
probably
here's
will.
here's a cool part. Here's a cool part. I've got people that I've had as customers that have decided that they like cooking so much that they want to actually do their own prep. So I have customers that are now colleagues that I'm conferring with recipes and now bouncing things off of each other, even though they're doing their own thing. I don't fault anybody for that. If they love cooking, I'm gonna help them out there too.
I love it. Okay, so don't watch my Instagram story today because you'll absolutely cringe of what I had for lunch today. My food is never pretty, and it's usually partially processed, sort of. Like I try to be good. Now remember, I'm not in prep, but yeah, I figured you, Alan, you laugh about food posts, but those get the most watches. I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
Anytime I post I don't post often when I eat, but when I do, people are like watching. It's very weird. It's very strange.
I mean, food is delicious. I don't know why it wouldn't get more likes. You know what I mean? I mean, but
It gets so many
it looks
likes.
so damn, especially when it's like all balanced out and the colors. Like, I think you'd have like a sweet potato, chicken, and like broccoli there, and
Yeah,
like the
that's
colors are
beautiful,
so
isn't it?
like
Like,
vivid. And I was
oh,
looking at it,
right.
Yeah.
and I'm for sure eating after this too. So like, look at all the
Beautiful.
sunlight.
I know. I love this one
Look at
right
that.
here.
That looks delicious. Yeah, that looks. See what I mean? Look
I
at all
want
the
to know what
colors
this
and
is. What
everything.
are those?
What
Okay,
are those?
that is a zucchini roll up, and that particular one, if I'm not mistaken, is made with ricotta, Parmesan, mozzarella, and Italian sausage.
And ricotta
Wow.
And
is
then the
loaded with protein.
yeah, and again, so it's a protein source, but it also matches the fat that the keto people look for.
Hmm. Very nice. And
Ooh, ooh, I think I have a redemption joke for this right now, guys. I think
okay.
I have one.
Okay. Okay. Hold on. Hold on.
So, what do you guys call a fake noodle?
Mm, hmm.
An
No.
impasta.
Okay.
Yes. Totally.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'm back in the game, guys. I'm back. I'm back.
It's so
the
good.
picture that you just had up a moment ago was a brand new item we just put out. It's the
Yes.
tilapia creole. Yeah, tilapia
Yes.
creole. That is, it's got a little bit of okra to it. Nice creole seasoning. The tilapia is actually blackened before I put anything else on it, so lots of deep flavor.
That does look
That looks
awesome.
amazing. I don't even like fish, and that looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. It looks really good. So, all right, I'm done for tonight. I guess I will let you guys go. I had so much fun, and I will be seeing you soon, Dale, down in Central Florida at the Florida Pro. But like I
Absolutely.
said, I always look like I'm running around with my head cut off because that's just how I operate. But don't be shy if you see me at the media table. Definitely come over and just kick whoever's next to me off the mic, and you can sit down and chat, and we'll talk about what's going
I'll absolutely
on
stop by.
stage. Because we got 2 days, so we got plenty of time to chat.
I know, right?
And
Yeah,
on
I'll be there. I'll be there definitely Saturday for me, and I'm going to be there cheering on the pros as well.
so you are getting on stage this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool. Yeah, definitely come over on Sunday. It's more fun to chat about the pros anyway, right? Because
oh,
we're
I'll be
following
done by then.
along.
I'll be relaxing.
Yeah.
I'll be eating like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
Caesar's buffet, guys. Not counting
Caesar's
down at all.
not at
Promise.
all. But on a side note, Alan K, my husband just automatically assumed that you were going to be at the Florida Pro doing commentary with me. And we were having a conversation the other day, and he's like, yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, Alan's going to do a great job and blah, 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 blah. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, isn't he coming in and do commentary with you at the Florida Pro? I go, he lives in
Mm.
California. I was like, so he made it sound
It's a
like you just live down
bit
the
of a
street.
commute.
A bit of a
Oh yeah,
commute.
but look at. I've ever since we started talking about it, I've been introducing and trying to make room for it. So who knows? I might actually make it out there.
Hey,
So
if you did, you would have an open seat at the table for sure. because,
Thank
you
you.
know,
As long as I have one of my own headphones, that's all I really want.
thank you.
And just laugh at my jokes. Like if we have a laugh button there, I might be there for sure.
Ding! I do have a laugh. I do have a laugh button, so we can definitely pipe that in, and they'll just
Yeah,
think
but
you're
I
the
need to earn
funniest.
those. I need to earn those, right? I realized after that first joke I said, I'm like, oh my God, no. We can't. For the sake of the show, I can't just be dropping like those random bombs. Like it has to make sense.
It has
It
to make
has
sense.
to. I'll take it upon me. It's on me, guys. You live, you learn, and I'm learning right now, guys.
Yeah,
I'm
yes.
learning.
All right, so we got BeastMeals. He's going to be up on stage, and yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. But Beast, what's your .com again? Like, what's your website?
Beastmeals.net.
.net. Okay, so beastmeals.net. And I
Net.
have the Instagram. Your Instagram handle has been on the screen the whole time, so everybody can head
Oh,
over there.
beautiful.
Yeah, and follow you. I learned to just add it to the screen so it stays up there. I used to flash it up, and I was like, it was just wasn't on long enough, so now it's just part of the name on the screen. So, all right, guys, have a good night. I will talk to both of you soon, and till next week.
Take care. Thanks so much for
All
having
right.
me.
Yes. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.
Oh, and shift of the week. Do you have one
Oh
ready,
yeah, crap! I
Alan?
have one. I do have one actually. Oh my God! I just I was so in this. Yeah. Good night, guys.
Do
Like
we
wait a minute.
need
Yeah, I do have
to?
one.
Okay, so Dale, you can exit, but we're gonna do our shift of the week, and I will make sure to send you this clip, Alan, so we can repost it.
Cool.
All right.
Absolutely.
Good night.
All right.
Good
Good
night.
night. All right, here we go.
What's going on, guys? And welcome back to this Subculture Live's shift of the week that we almost just missed, as a matter of fact. Even though, I usually like talking about social programming, social media, and everything as it pertains to projecting upon health, I think there's a lot of other entities that involve health outside of just eating, working out, and just the mental side. Another part of it, in my opinion, is the emotional side. And as someone who is single, who does have aspirations of having a family and having more kids, I can't help but to notice the slight of the dating world as it pertains to 2023. And I have a couple of stats here, and at the end, I actually have a couple of resolutions. So stick with me as I bomb through some of these crazy stats, because a recent study showed that over the last 10 years, the amount of sexless men has tripled. As a matter of fact, the idea of a nuclear family is reportedly going to be gone by the year of 2032. For you guys that don't know what a nuclear family is, that is literally a mom, a dad, and kids. It is literally projected that within 10 years, that'll be as taboo and damn near obsolete. More than half of all young men are single and not dating. And what's interesting in lieu of all of this is that there is a rise in internet dating. In other words, there are more people now than ever that are on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge. That's all I know of. That's all I can think of. From Plenty of Fish, maybe. Yeah. Before I start going here, I digress from that. But you would think that the rise in internet dating would actually increase these numbers. But what they have found is that 80% of all women, only like 20% of the men that are on there. As a matter of fact, if you are not above 6 feet and you are not making over six figures, and more often than not having a six pack, odds are you're going to get swiped left. The person, as a matter of fact, the person who's considered to be average, which doesn't exhibit all of these traits, are swiped right on a less than 1% average. And if you consider the fact that there are 3 times as much men than there are women on these social media dating apps, you'd see that this is only further escalating the problem. And the reason why it's starting to become a concern to me more than anything else is that we are now starting to treat each other and treat dating as an objectified measure towards people. And why this is starting to become a little bit of a problem is because now the cost of children is going a little bit further out. And this is reducing children's numbers. And before you start thinking, hey, this isn't a problem, I want you to start actually looking into China's economy ever since they implemented the one child per family rule. We are actually on a rate heading towards the same numbers as China. And that's why they're such at an economic default, and why it's scary as hell to me of why dating is going the way that it is. Now, we can do one of two things. Either A, resist all of these numbers even though it's happening, or B, actually make ourselves in lieu of it? And well, what I decided to do was look up the 6 best ways to approach women in the gym. And I look at this is supposed to be a little bit more fun than normal. But the thing is, in general, the way that we overcome all this internet bias, the way we overcome all of the social media programming and all of these ridiculous numbers, especially if you're like me that doesn't fit the 6 feet mantra that is so swiped right on, is well, you interact with people in person, because there's a lot more to be said about attraction, a lot more to interacting with regards to actually being present around people and actually reading body language. These elements are being effectively ignored in all of this internet thing, and why we are trying to objectify people. So, according to elitedaily.com, these are the 6 best pickup lines at the gym. Number 1, do you mind giving me a spot? See, suddenly this gives you an opportunity to see that she can actually physically support you. Because let's be real, guys, if she can't physically support you when you're physically being stressed out, how can you expect her to be there for you mentally and emotionally when you're stressed out there as well? Number 2 of the pickup lines that you get, you have awesome form. Look, this is a great subtle way, in my opinion, to say, hey, you look great, without being a little too creepy and saying you look great. Saying someone's form looks nice, I think that's not a bad measure. Number 3, this is honestly one of my favorite ones. The elliptical isn't the only thing getting my heart rate up. Now, this might be a little aggressive, and I would reserve that line for people that you already know and you establish a funny rapport with. Because if you if you decide to approach someone blindly with that, you might not get a great result. And if you do get a great result with that, kudos to you. All right. Number 5 on the best pickup lines according to elitedaily.com. Hi, I see you're new to this gym and I want to be the first person to bother you. Don't use that one. I don't know why this made this list. I don't know why. And then number 6, this is kind of my favorite one. You work out. I work out. I think our relationship could work out. And you know what? I think, of all honesty, of all the ones, that is probably the best one. But look, no matter what you say, just don't be a creep. Don't act like you want something from them, because otherwise you will push people away. Now, this does come with trial and error, and I imagine that the fear of rejection is absolutely fearful, because it is. It sucks being rejected. But how else are you supposed to learn? How else are you supposed to interact other than overcoming that fear? So with that, guys, don't forget, just be present. And yeah, Sammy, back to you.
Hey, I have to tell you, my mic was off, but I was laughing. Those were great. That was
Oh
an
my God.
excellent.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, sorry. I forgot one. I forgot one of these. This is, I got stopped by a police officer on the way here. He told me it was illegal to carry these guns in public.
No, don't do it.
I'm sorry, but the one you work out, I work out. I think a relationship could work out. That is going in the back. I will let you know next week how this works. Like I'll try some of these.
Okay,
I got it.
We want the complete update once you try those. But awesome, you always put so much time into your shift of the week.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Wait, real quick, Sammy. I know you're married now, but I can imagine, because you are a workout person, that you probably got hit on in some type of embarrassing or funny way. Like, is there an instance that sticks out to you?
Do you know what? I know I'm always smiling on these podcasts. I have the worst, or the best, resting bitch face. I never ever get approached at the gym. It's so true. I have learned all the tricks: the hat, the headphones, the face, the not making eye contact. I just want to work out. Leave me alone. Not that those lines would not make me laugh. Like, I would totally break character if somebody came up to me and said something like that. Yeah, I tried, but I don't have a story. And the second thing is, I never get on social media, I've never gotten any like extremely inappropriate comments like DM'd to me. I don't know. Yeah, so I think I just keep everything like clean enough to where people are just like, yeah, she's probably not going to be into this. Like if you were to go through my social media, I don't have any risque pictures. Or my husband said to me one time, and this always stuck in my head, we had a little baby, and he's like, remember, whatever you post on social media, one day our son's teenage friends are going to be looking through it. And I was like, oh my, because you don't want to put our son in any type of uncomfortable situation. And I was like, you're right. So if you've ever gone through my social media, it's all fitness. Anytime I'm in a bikini, I'm basically on stage. It's all very professional, because I think more moms need to remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and honestly, it's the energy that you project, because you have a very classy, respectable persona, just not only on social media but off social media. But if you're like one of these average, I hate to say average and today, whatever, but a lot of gym goers of a female nature would have like the hat, the sleeves, and then their shirt tucked into these skinny butt shorts that have like whatever, and then it's like, don't look at me. And it's like, you're asking to get looked at, but don't, you know
Yes.
what I mean? And
Yes.
it's a very interesting time to be in this gym workout industry, because it is definitely shifting in a lot more ways than one. That's for
It
sure.
is. It is. And then there's the whole body positive thing. So you're seeing even more girls dressing more risque at the gym, where before they would have been a little bit more self-conscious to dress that way. So it's interesting. You're right. It's very interesting. That's my observation. Just from being at the gym today, I literally saw two girls. I thought it was one girl. That's how similar they looked, because they were dressed like
Hmm.
identical. Like you could have peeled them right off social media. But that's just the trend right now. And neither one of them really should have been wearing what they were wearing. Not that I was judging them, not that I was judging them, not that they're not fit, and nothing about them working out and training, but it was just like, I think prior to this kind of body positive thing, they would have felt self-conscious to wear what they had on. So more power to them, like for them to walk in there and feel confident and wear what it is that they were wearing. Like, awesome. Like, I can't do that. So kudos to them. But it's just, yeah, it's a weird culture at the gym. And the gym I train at
Yeah,
has a lot of like younger clientele. So I see it
I
all.
gotcha. Yeah, I think that it's not bad. Like, let's say I think it's fair to say that the amount of whatever that word is, that word with more than two syllables, like with that being advertised a little bit more, it's actually what's getting people into fitness and getting people into working out. So I guess if it costs to sexualize yourself in order for you to get into fitness, then you know what? Then I guess it's not a bad thing, because I guess the other way around is, if you're, yeah, I mean, sexuality is sold everywhere in every industry. But if you can use
Absolutely.
it to inspire people to be choosing better options and invest into their health, then
Yeah.
my God, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not so bad. It's not the worst.
No, and look, I'm not gonna. I'm still a dude at the end of the day. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, no, don't wear that matching pink outfit and smelling like Victoria's Secret. No, don't do that. No, I don't want to take a picture for you. No, I don't.
No,
No,
and you're
no,
right. I'm
no.
on the same token. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like I said, I love it. And I do see a lot of younger faces at the gym, and they are there, and they're consistent, and they're, so like I said, I love it. It's fine. I don't ever care, but it just makes me
Oh
chuckle.
yeah.
I mean, people
Oh
look at
yeah.
me.
And then
I'm
think
like
about it.
the girl with the thing wrapped around her waist, and I'm all like covered up.
Like, you're
Because
there
in
to
my
warmth,
mind, I'm
right?
like a former pro bodybuilder, so I'm like, I think I look like, ugh. When most people are probably like, I wish I looked like her, but
Yeah.
that's the whole thing that goes on in our minds. Once you've been on stage and you've been stage lean, and you just look at yourself in a whole different light.
Yeah, man. We should create a whole nother episode about that body dysmorphia for sure, because that is a whole nother subject of,
And it's
you
nothing
ain't lying.
it is. And it's funny, I was just talking to a friend today. Like, I very rarely talk about my own stories and my own uh things I've had to overcome, or things that I've gone through, or just experiences in general. Like, I very rarely ever talk about myself. That's why I love this podcast, because I can bring other people on and let them share their stories. So yeah, that would be interesting one day for me to share some of my stories and some of the things I've had to overcome or seen or experienced, but I just don't find myself that interesting. But I can relate to what a
No.
lot of people are talking about and going through, more so than they probably can even understand. So yeah.
Yeah. I think we'll do one of these interviews where I'll host and then I'll ask you these questions and we do that.
Oh, that's scary. You ask really deep questions, Alan.
Then I'll stay on the surface.
No, but in all seriousness, you do have an open invitation. If you ever wanted to join me at one of my events, you would be blown away. You would have so much fun. I don't know if you've ever seen my office, but all of this tech and all of this fun stuff, you would have a lot of fun playing with it and watching how it all kind of comes together in a live stream. But my husband did assume that you were going to be there.
I am going to try my ass off to be there. That is for sure.
Hey,
So,
your
like,
family lives here. I thought that I was like, I might be able to bribe him with his family because it's
but no,
close.
I
It's
don't have any.
close.
Well, I have. All right. So my family, if you would say, my family is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So yes, I guess technically, it is Duval. But
It's a good place to be.
oh my God, I love my Jags. But sorry, now I just don't even want to talk. I'm just talking about my favorite thing in the world. So never mind. We'll try to make it out there for sure. I mean, I was kind of on the fence, but now that you're bringing up the headphones every single show and getting excited about it, like that's what see what I see.
They're so cool. They're so fun.
It's so funny. You know what's so funny? Because a lot of people don't podcast and a lot of people don't have live shows. So they don't understand the excitement that I have for you with those headphones. And like, yeah, I'm so excited for you. I'm really legitimately excited to see what this new approach is like. Oh my God, I can move everywhere now and still talk. Like,
Right. And we're both so animated that we kind of need them like on our head because otherwise it's
yeah.
like,
Look, you're right. You know what? You're completely right because it's like because I can't get my microphone to work right now, so I've been using AirPods for the last two shows, and it's been nice to be able to move my head and still sound the same. But on the same token, it's when you say like a bad joke and you're trying to walk off the camera, you could still hear yourself mutter underneath your breath. So I mean, it's positive and it has negatives, I guess. So
sorry, I'll just
yeah,
do this.
yeah. Thank you. Every single time, like, hey guys, I got a joke. Okay, write it down. Can you hear me?
Sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Nobody's probably watching, but we're having a good time.
Oh my
But yeah, this is what I'm gonna send you. The link to this soundboard. This will change your life.
God.
It'll be the best money
Please
you ever
do.
invest, and you'll feel like a badass podcaster. And it will do everything you need it to do, and your audio will always sound amazing. It's
All right.
time.
All right,
It's
will
time
do.
for the
Is it
roadcaster.
time? Am I ready for this next
You
step
are.
now?
You are.
Oh my
You're ready.
God. I,
Yeah, and I
I
see
have
plenty
been
of space
waiting
on
for
your
this
desk
moment.
for it. It actually can go right under your laptop. Right under
Oh.
there. Yeah. Mhm.
No. Well, the plan is to get a bigger desk so that I have even more room to have less things on it. So it's it's okay.
I like it.
Oh my God. This is probably my favorite post show conversation we've had. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
And usually wait a minute, usually we cut it. Like we're still live. Usually I cut it so
Oh my
everyone
God.
can hear all this banter that we do post show, but it is a lot of
Oh
fun.
God.
And I
It
had a
is.
lot of
It
fun
is.
with Dale too. And he's so professional and so passionate about what he does. Um yeah,
Yeah.
that's a business that's just gonna take off. No doubt.
And it's crazy because it's like usually something with like meal prep. Like, it's interesting because like I guess us as people that compete, we're so used to approaching these like different entities in such a boring way. Like it's just meal prep. That's just what this. And you're right. It's enlightening to get someone who's like, no, this is meal prep. I work with them. I'm passionate about it. Don't tell them what to do. I work with them. I'm like, man, I want to eat with you. Like what the heck? I didn't never thought I'd say that in my life. But here I am. I wanted to eat with someone, like just for the fact of his passion, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It is for
pretty
food
cool. Pretty
is
cool.
beautiful,
Oh
but he
man,
is gonna
that
kick
food
it up.
porn is huge.
Yeah, he said he's
Hmm?
gonna kick up his social media and posting more pictures and videos, and he got a new logo that he just came out with, and yeah, so he's definitely like into the whole marketing part of it now, which is really fun, which can be
Nice,
really
nice.
fun.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like one of my favorite things to do is meal prep. It really, really is. And then I think it's like that gratifying feeling of I'm nourishing myself from my own way of cooking. Like it just mentally it makes me feel a lot better. On the same token, though, I would love to get those 6 or 7 hours back every single week. So I mean,
I
it definitely
think
has its own
I
thing.
think for meal prep there's a balance too. Imagine if you like I said, just did kind of what I did and filled in 2 or 3 meals a day, and then you still were able to cook kind of like your base meals, breakfast. Everyone loves
Mm.
breakfast and can do their own breakfast, but you fill in those
Oh yeah,
other meal and then just knowing that you have those 2 or 3 quick grabs. I think that is like the perfect balance. Mm.
maybe. I know you're probably right. Look, I need to talk to people that are pros, right? That's the goal I'm trying to get to. Like, if this is the way, then I need to follow. Like I'm not going to try to sit here and make my own
I
plan when I can listen to winners.
I had one friend, and I'm pretty sure he prepped, his whole prep was food service. Johnny Dotson, Dangerous J. Look him up online on Instagram if you're not already following him. He's one of the top pro men's physique competitors. He's a former Mr. America, and he would always have his meals. Um, I think they were like freezer dried, like in like a little freezer pack when I would see him because he would travel with them. So maybe they did that
Mm.
special for him when he was traveling. They kind of like, you know what I'm talking about? Like sucked all the air
How
out. But he
how
would,
do they do that?
I don't know. But he would always have his meal prep. I don't even know if Dangerous J cooks, but I don't know if he needs to because he looks amazing and it works for him. So he's actually
All right.
active military. He is overseas right now. So
Oh
yeah,
wow. Well, thank you for
yeah.
serving. That's for sure.
Dangerous J. Look him up. He's an incredible, well, men's
Dangerous.
physique competitor. That's right in your wheelhouse. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Getting ready. Yeah, yeah, getting ready. I'm definitely at that point where it's like every time I look at a mirror, I am literally flexing. And I don't even notice I'm posing and just like, oh wait, what
hmm
am I doing? Like why did
And
they and it's like I can't stop posing.
well, you're at the point too where there's like those small daily changes that just kind of keep your engine going. There's just enough change where you're like, yes, and it just motivates you to keep going, stay on point, do better, do better, do better. I personally loved prep. It was
Yeah.
so
Yeah, no.
gratifying every day.
Yeah. Well, for me right now, I would say the biggest challenge for me with every prep, and I've noticed with this one too, because I just started cutting again, and I just up my cardio. And so I know that's gonna go with me shrinking, and like I have a paranoia of getting too small. Like I don't have the biggest frame to begin with already, and so it's like I know that I got to lean down, and it's just like, oh my god, like I'm a grown man and I'm about to weigh less than most people, and it's kind of a scary feeling. I'm not gonna lie.
It is, but at the same time, you're going to be able to see the progress that you've made over, since last year, and you're going to be impressed with the amount of progress you've made just from the training and having those extra calories in and yeah. Cuz I
Oh yeah,
think
that's
you're kind of in the beginning, you're like, this is a new endeavor for you. So
mm,
I always think that athletes that are just kind of getting into it, they see more changes quickly versus like the athletes that have been doing it forever. Like 1 year of progress for someone that's been doing it for 15 years is going to be much different than 1 year of progress, for someone that's been in it for like 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
right, right. Yeah, it does. And even though I'm over here right now bitching and complaining and being a victim right now, like I know that's part of the process. I've accepted like, hey, I'm gonna probably whine and complain a little bit on my way to stage, and then by the time I get to stage, I'm like, man, this is so great. It was all worth it. You know what I mean? So I mean,
Every
it's
time.
just part of the process. And you're right. It's like it's just always, it's just my coach always says like embrace the suck. And it's just the reality of it. Like, it is, and yeah, yeah, it is what it is. So yeah.
Yes, sir. It is. It's the best. It's the best. Makes me. I'm around athletes right now that are prepping for shows, and it's just like, oh, I would love to be doing that again. But it keeps me motivated, just being like strong and healthy, just in my everyday life. I don't know if I need to be prepping. Not right now. I need to rebuild first. That's what I'm working on.
Rebuild.
Oh my gosh. And that's another story that I still need to share. It's like a year in the making, and I still haven't shared it with people, but I will soon. So people can like know where I'm at and why I'm not on stage. Yeah, that's a big one.
I feel like you should put a poll on the Subculture Live Instagram to see how many people would love to hear your backstory and talk about you for a little bit. Don't look too excited about it. But no, I think you'd be really enlightening for it, because you do have a wealth of knowledge, you do have a wealth of experience, and you have a really good eye to find these amazing guests. So that's always a reflection of you in some dynamic, right? So obviously there's something about you that's very intriguing that I feel like a lot of guests are waiting to hear about. So.
Yes, but until then, we do have a lineup of a really great guest coming up soon. I'll be sending you that list.
But until then, I'm going to deflect. I'm going to deflect off and take the attention away from me until then.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So this was fun. We will talk soon, and I will be sending you just some cool names of people that we're going to be having on in the next coming weeks. And then, of course, as always, we'll have your shift of the week, which I always enjoy. It's always enlightening and a little deeper than I like to go, so it's enjoyable for me.
Thank you.
But yeah,
thank you.
All right, Alan. Everybody got to hear our post-show talk.
Yeah. We should have these more often, maybe. Yeah. We'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see where the show goes after that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, have a good one. Happy prepping.
You too. Thank you.
Yes. All right, here goes my little outro. It's super obnoxious. Oh, did I delete it? There it is. All right, guys, have a great night. Thank you for watching.